Honestly, there's no other way to start the year than sharing a pasta recipe. One thing that I can guarantee for sure is that most of you guys love my pasta recipes, and this is another one to add to your collection and my collection. What I made here is a very quick and easy chicken pasta recipe. So I used 3 pieces of chicken breast that were actually very big, thick pieces, and then I added the seasonings that you see on the screen. Also, one thing that I definitely want to do this year is make my own spice mix. I'm going to have to buy all the main ingredients that I use and combine them together and make my own little mixture, as I feel like that would be very helpful with the foods that I make and you guys would actually enjoy it as well. So to start off the recipe, I marinated the chicken in the seasonings and I added it to a pot, but before that I added in some olive oil. Honestly, these chicken breast pieces are very thick, but as soon as they start cooking they do shrink. So on a high heat I added in the chicken breast and I allowed them to cook for a good 2 to 3 minutes. As you can see in the video, when you start seeing the ends of the chicken like searing and turning a little bit white, then I flip it over. And then what I did is I let it sear for another 2 to 3 minutes on a high heat. And then once the chicken is nice and seared for 2 to 3 minutes on the other side, I covered it with a lid and I turned the heat to low, and I let this cook for a good 8 to 10 minutes on a very low heat. While your chicken is cooking in the meantime, I recommend that you boil your pasta and you also just chop up some onions and mince some garlic. After around 5 minutes, this is how the chicken looks. As you can see, the chicken has shrunk like a lot. That's basically what chicken does. So if you feel like your pan is too small, don't worry, because it's gonna end up shrinking. I repeated the process again after this, and I put the chicken on a low heat and I allowed it to basically cook for the remainder of the time. And then after the 10 minutes, the chicken was done, so I removed it from the pan. Also, one thing that I did do is I added the juices from the chicken back into the chicken, as I'm gonna add that into the pasta sauce after. Making this next step is honestly so easy. All I did was I cooked some onions, which is optional, but I just really like onions with pasta. After the onion, I added in 3 tablespoons of garlic. It just seemed like a lot, but I just honestly love garlic. After the onions and garlic have been cooking together for a couple of minutes, I followed it by adding in double cream, and I'm sure I used around 600 milliliters as I used 2 of the small tubs. Once I added in the cream, I let it simmer on a very low heat for a good 4 to 5 minutes before adding in some grated cheese. It's honestly up to you. You can either add the cheese in the sauce now, or you can add when you add in the pasta. I wanted to add it into the cream sauce just to see how it turns out, and it was actually very nice. At this point, the main sauce for your dish is done, and the final step is to add in your pasta. Also, as always, I'm gonna have the full written recipe in the caption, so make sure to check that out. Also, you are probably wondering, why didn't I season the pasta sauce? What I did is I did add a little bit of salt, as I felt like I needed some, but then all the juices from the chicken is what I added in, and I feel like because the chicken was so spicy from the cayenne pepper, it didn't actually need any extra spices in the sauce, as I feel like it would have been too much. If you want to recreate this dish and you want to add in spices to the sauce, then that's entirely up to you, but I just didn't think it needed it because the chicken was just so overly seasoned. Also, another tip to keep your chicken so nice and juicy is when you remove it from the pan and you put it in a plate, make sure that you cover it with foil. I feel like for me, it allows your chicken to just stay so juicy than just like air dry. As you can see, this is how the chicken turned out. Honestly, it was so tender and juicy. If you are someone who isn't too comfortable with cooking chicken pieces this big, then definitely just cut them in smaller pieces and cook them that way, as that's just as good. To finish off the dish, I added in some chicken, which I cut into small pieces, and gave it a good mix. At this point, I do recommend that you just garnish it with some mixed herbs, as I feel like that entirely completes any pasta dish. I also added a little bit of more cheese, so it's more cheesy, and that's literally the dish complete. I honestly need to get new bowls to serve pasta on. I'm definitely going to do that this year. But I served the pasta and this is how it turned out. And then I cooked the chicken like this, just so it can look nice and presentable and I have a nice aesthetic looking dish. But this is how I played it up. I actually did not garnish with any mixed herbs, as I wanted to just keep it like that. But yeah, that's how the dish turned out. I want to finish off the video by saying I hope you guys have a happy new year. I can't even explain the amount of pasta recipes that I do have planned, and obviously many other dishes, but I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in my next one.